Hi, everybody. Philip Ruce at Stone Arch Law Office. What is a trust? That's a big question. Trusts are legal entities, sort of like a corporation is a legal entity, but they are governed by an entirely different set of laws. What makes a trust work is the fact that property, the ownership of the property in the trust, has somehow changed. So right now, if I own something, I own all of it. I own who I can rent it to. I own who I can sell it to. I own who gets it when I die. All these little bits of ownership that you may not think about, I own the whole thing. With the trust, we're somehow changing that. So for example, a trust has three parties to it, typically at least. One is a grantor or a settlor or a trustor, all the same thing. That's the person who created the trust. The second party is the trustee, and the trustee is the person who runs the trust. Think of the CEO of a company, but again, different set of laws. Okay, the trustee runs the trust. And then we have at least one beneficiary, and that's the person who benefits from the property. If I am the only grantor, if I am the only trustee, and I am the only beneficiary, then my property hasn't really changed. So we could argue that that's not a true trust in some ways, or that it's a revocable trust, which is actually used commonly in estate planning. If a trust is truly going to be an irrevocable trust, though, we need to change something there. We need to change the ownership. So I need to have an additional person who's in charge of the property, or I need to have an additional beneficiary, or I need a different beneficiary after I die to take the property. Something about my ownership has to change. And in doing this, we can create a trust that can do any number of things. Trusts are used to minimize or avoid estate taxes. They're used to care for minors or for widows or widowers. They're used for charities. There's really any purpose you can think that's not illegal or against public policy, and sometimes things that are illegal and against public policy, people use trusts for those. They're very versatile, they're a great tool, but they're also very tricky, so make sure you're working with an attorney if you're working with trusts. Philip Ruce at Stone Arch Law Office, and that's a really good question.